The darkest hallways. I had always been told to stay away from the hospital. The tales of it being haunted had been passed down through generations in my family, so I had always been warned to stay clear. But when I heard that my best friend had been admitted there, I knew I had to go. The hospital was an old abandoned building, shrouded in darkness and a thick mist. It felt like a place of death and sorrow. I wanted to turn back, but I had to keep going. I had to find my friend. As I stepped inside, I was overwhelmed by a feeling of dread. I could feel something watching me, but I kept walking. I kept looking for my friend, but I couldn't find him. I searched through the dark corridors, but all that greeted me were strange noises and shadows. I eventually made my way to the deepest part of the hospital. The walls were covered in old medical equipment, and there were strange symbols painted on the walls. I could feel a presence looming over me, and I started to feel scared. But I kept walking, until I finally reached the end of the corridor. It was then that I realized why this hospital was so feared. There, standing in the middle of the room, was an old man. He was wearing a hospital gown, and his eyes were blank and lifeless. He slowly turned to face me, and I heard a voice in my head, telling me to run. I started to back away, but the old man slowly followed. I stumbled into the corridor and started to run, but the old man kept following me. He was getting closer and closer, and I thought I was going to die. But then, I heard a voice calling my name. It was my friend. He had been searching for me, and he was now standing in the doorway of the room. We both ran out of the hospital, and I never looked back. The next day, I learned the truth. The old man wasn't a ghost. He was a patient who had gone missing years ago, and he had been living in the hospital ever since. His presence had been haunting the hospital for years, and I had been the only one brave enough to face him. The story of the darkest hallways is a reminder that sometimes, the things we fear the most can be the most real. It is also a reminder that no matter how dark life may seem, there is always hope.